Okay, here's the boring bit. Anything you hear or see in this video is not investment advice. It could be absolute rubbish. Please do your own research. Hi there, welcome to my midweek video. I'm Justin Waite, small cap investor, and of course now investing in Bitcoin. If you didn't see my last video on Bitcoin, please hit it there. I was very cynical about the hype. I've done some research and I'm coming around to it. Completely coming around to it. So I'm going to do a Bitcoin update. I'm also going to cover news on stocks I own, including Open Orphan, looking at the charts of Bidstack, Open Orphan, and a couple of others in my portfolio. Okay. Now, do me a favor. If you like this video, by all means, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Very important. And below, please, comment. If you are in Bitcoin, let me know. Say, yes, I hold some Bitcoin. If you're not, tell me why. All right, I want to know, because I was very cynical about the Bitcoin hype. But honestly, there's more to it than just charts and hype. I've been reading into it, and I really believe in the story now. And I do believe, like I said in my last video, it has big potential if everything goes to plan, which I think it is. And I'll share some news today that shows it going to plan. First and foremost, company news. First company up, it's Open Orphan. So good volume today, already exceeding average daily volume. This was in the morning as well, by the way. And they announced it's a 17 million market cap. They'll be turning over, around about 10, 12 million from then. Of course, there's several different parts of the business. This was concerning their data. And I'm very excited about their data. I think this is the blue sky potential here. They've got two sort of data bits platforms here for the legs, the Open Orphan, part of the business plan. By all means, listen, I've done a video previously. Hit the I button there, and you'll see me covering Open Orphan in its entirety, pretty much. But Open Orphan signs an agreement with Empiric Logic. Open Orphan is pleased to announce it has signed a new strategic collaboration agreement with Empiric Logic to build on the earlier work performed by Open Orphan and complete the build-out of Open Orphan's health data platform, Europe's first, and that's important, first rare disease advocacy-led genomic database. Empiric Logic, a leading managed software service company which provides software to the life sciences, pharma services, and biotech services, will incorporate its proprietary, privacy-preserving, and artificial intelligence-enabled software into Open Orphan's health data platform to aid the collection and management capabilities of the software. The collaboration is the final stage in the completion of Open Orphan's genomic health data platform and will speed up its launch. And of course, it's built between Empiric Logic and Maurice Tracy's Chief Commercial Officer, their thing. Now, this is important what Cahill says, the CEO, says it's an exciting step towards the completion of our genomic health data platform, and we are delighted to have Empiric on board to help us quickly and securely become one of the largest databases of rare disease patients in Europe. So I had Maurice, I say Maurice, it's not Maurice, you're Irish, not French, but I had Maurice on the podcast, and I asked him about the commercial potential of this, because, I like companies that have a software side to it, a scalable software side to it, and this is that. It's got a traditional business, a service, a pharma services company, but the data platforms I see as the blue sky op. So this is what Maurice said. We are targeting 10,000 patients' records in this database, and that's across multiple disease areas. And remember, there's about 30 million in Europe, so that's less than 1%. So it's really is an achievable target to get to 10,000. Each data set per patient is worth 5,000. So if we're collecting 10,000 patient samples, the value of the data, just the nominal value of the data, is 50 million. But we're assuming there will be multiple pharmaceuticals looking at this data in parallel. So it's non-exclusive access to this data. So we assume the value will be multiple times this value. So it's multiple times 50 million. That's why we're so excited about this data. Most of the data pre-exists. We assume we'll get 10,000 in 2 years. It might be a lot faster than this, but that's our target. That's why it's exciting. We're talking about a 17 million market cap. We know Cahill has said several times he has ambition, for this company, and he wants to be out in 2 years at multiples of where it is now. He wants, in excess of 100 million. And I think when you get into data like this, and these big pharma companies, want access to data, and they don't download the data because it belongs to the patients. So it's GDPR compliant. So it belongs to the patients, so they can manipulate it on Open Orphan's platform. They can mess around with the data, look at it, analyze it, and maybe they have a collaboration with Open Orphan about how they want the data set up in some way. So that's a platform. And you see, just access to this, because it's rare diseases, orphan diseases, quite expensive. So you're talking here, pretty much what, 50 million minimum. That's almost 3 times the market cap already. And then if you have multiples of that, of course, 100, 150. Plus, you have the other side of the business as well, which is the VEN, which is services to pharmaceutical companies. And you have the virtual rep as well, data rep. I just genuinely see this as an excellent company, or the potential to be, multiples of where it is now this time next year. I really do. I think the start is under the radar. Put it on your watch list. Like I said, it's not investment advice, but please put it on your watch list. It's worth looking at. Okay, let's look at some Bitcoin. Let's start with the Bitcoin block reward halving countdown. 211 days left. So 14th of May roundabout is when the block reward halving happens. What does this mean? So miners, Bitcoin's very clever. It's been set up like gold, pretty much. And so there are what's called crypto miners. Obviously, they don't go with their shovels and spades. They use computers. But algorithmically, they solve crypto-related problems and complete a blockchain. They're rewarded for doing this by supplying power and energy and doing this with Bitcoin. Now, every 4 years, sort of, around about that time, this reward halves. It started at 50 Bitcoins, went down to 25, now it's down to 12.5. In May of next year, the reward miners will halve again to 6.5. Already, close to 18 million Bitcoins are in circulation. There's only going to be a maximum of 21 million. What does that mean? Like I said in my video, even a major German bank said Bitcoin has been designed to become a harder asset than gold. People, buy and invest in gold because it's a safe store of value. And right now, it's never been, more obvious or more of a safe store of value than where we are at the moment. And I'll go through some headlines. But at the moment, Bitcoin is running at about 3.82% yearly inflation. Okay, inflation is very important. Like I pointed out in my video, over the last 40 years in the UK, inflation has run at about 4%. Target is about 2%. So, the Bank of England tried to hit 2% inflation. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means over those 40 years, if you had 40 grand in cash in the 1980s, that would only be worth £10,000 right now. And that's why investors look for hard assets that will gain value over time, not depreciate because of inflation, like fiat currencies, like currencies like the pound or the dollar. All pretty much central banks' currencies are printed. Okay, so that is what is happening, and as the reward goes down, less comes into circulation. Less is put into the system. So imagine like a tap or something with water going in, and it's a bowl, and they'll only ever fill up that bowl. Now, in May, the tap will be slowed down. Inflation will be slowed down. Okay. Now, I just want to look at something, right? Either way this goes, either way this plays out. Look at this. This is the IMF, okay, this week. IMF warned that world growth is the slowest since the financial crisis. Okay. The fund said the world growth would hit just 3% this year. And in fact, the chief economist said, if you're having about 2.5% growth, most economies are in trouble, because obviously that 2.5% growth is including the high-flying economies, but a lot of economies would be in trouble. This is down from July forecast of 3.2, sharp slowdown from just two years ago. So down here, the IMF chief economist, Gita Gopinath, said central banks have already taken steps to cut interest rates and other measures. She warns central banks may have little left when the economies are in tougher spot, because a lot of economies now are almost zero interest rates. They can't go any further. All they can do is print money. They try and stimulate. There's not a lot after the global financial crisis. There's not a lot they can do. So she warns the central banks have little left. Governments that can afford it, she mentions Germany in particular, should cut taxes or increase spending. So what happens here, right, There's only two ways to go. Either the economies are going very well, growth is going very well, and inflation is probably 2% or more. In that way, your spending power goes down. Or, on the opposite hand, if the economies aren't doing very well, governments have to stimulate. That's by printing money in some way. Look at this, China, second biggest economy. A slide in exports to China in September. A slide in China's exports picked up pace in September, while imports contracted for the fifth straight month, pointing to further weakness in the economy and underlying the need for more stimulus as the Sino-US trade war drags on. So more stimulus means more printing, you know. Back to Bitcoin, becoming a harder asset after every halving. At the moment, Bitcoin price is quite bearish. It's a good time to accumulate if you've done as long as you're not overexposing yourself. So halving to the rescue. The next major bullish event for Bitcoin, like I said, 210 days away, is block halving. Historically, there's been significant rallies leading up to these events. There was certainly the case for little brother Litecoin this year, which surged by 380% in 6 months. Listen, not all cryptocurrencies have a limited supply. Not all of them do this halving. Bitcoin is the most dominant one. Like I say, 66% of all cryptocurrencies traded is Bitcoin, and because of this dominance, you have institutions trying to get on board. So this is what's traditionally happened. There's a chart here, a logarithmic chart from iHodl for the price of Bitcoin on halving. So right down here we got way below $1. It was back in 2009. It halved. When was this? First date 2009. Look at that, already $10. Way more than 10 bags. It started way below $1. I can't remember what it started at. And then it went up from $10 here. There's the price on the left here, up to pretty much $1,000. The second halving, and now we're going again up here. Now, how do people know this? There's something called a stock-to-flow ratio, which is worth looking at. I did do it in my last video. Like I said, have a look at the I button over there in the corner of the screen. And the gold's stock-to-flow ratio is the highest of all commodities, pretty much. It's around about 62. Second is Bitcoin, around about 25, 27. After, the next one, 2022, Bitcoin's stock-to-flow ratio will be higher than gold. Most people are predicting, or a lot of people are predicting, if the stock-to-flow ratio model works, it's been 95% accurate so far, Bitcoin will be around about $55,000 to $100,000 per Bitcoin by late 2020, next year. Okay. As I mentioned, why I like Bitcoin compared to other cryptocurrencies are its liquidity. That's why institutional investors, it's been one of the most best performing assets by a long way. Okay, and so that's why institutions want to get access to it. And of course, they get access to it, demand goes up. When you have a decrease in supply, that pushes the prices up. You've got a virtuous circle here going around. So this is another bit of news here. Grayscale wins an approval for a fixed public digital currency. Grayscale basically are the oldest and largest digital currency asset manager with 2.2 billion assets under management, open funds to accredited investors in February 2018. So they have received regulatory approval to list what is called first publicly traded digital currency index fund. Now, we've seen companies try to get ETFs away on the bigger markets, the main markets. This is over-the-counter market. These are the smaller junior markets in America. It's a bit like Next Exchange over here, I assume. But they've managed. It will happen. Bitcoin or cryptocurrency ETF will happen, guaranteed. When volatility comes down a little bit, when the price has gone up, it will happen. Pretty much just like gold is an ETF or silver is an ETF. You will be able to get a Bitcoin ETF, but by then I think the share price or the price of Bitcoin will be a lot higher. But they have got it away, or they've got assent from the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or FINRA. The Digital Large Cap Fund will be listed on the over-the-counter markets under the initials GDLCF. DLC is Grayscale's fourth publicly quoted product after Bitcoin Trust, Ethereum Trust, Ethereum Classic Trust. So it's the fourth one. And they say there's demand here. Look, the Bitcoin Trust is the most liquid security on the OTCQX market daily, they say. So plenty of demand there. DLC exposed investors to the largest cryptocurrencies based on market cap at any time. And on September 30th, 2019, that was 80.3% Bitcoin that fund made up. And like I said, they are, the oldest cryptocurrency fund there. So we got institutional investors. Of course, you can now trade. Didn't happen. This is why I think this halving event is very significant. You could not trade. Institutions could not get access to pretty much, Bitcoin in any way up until 2017, when Bitcoin futures contracts came on the CME. But they were cash based, sort of settled future contracts, and now BAX exchange now settle in Bitcoin in September, and there's demand. So institutional investors are getting access to Bitcoin. This is pushing the demand up. Supply is coming down. The share price will go up. This is, again, you're getting adoption by mainstream organizations. As we know, a lot of companies are setting up stable coins. It's not decentralized like Facebook. It's not. Difference is Facebook isn't decentralized. It's centralized pretty much. Facebook own it, unlike Bitcoin, And that's why there's been questions over, the future of Libra, which is Facebook's. But look at this. UNICEF, the biggest children's charity in the world, have launched a cryptocurrency fund to back open source technology. Okay, so they've launched a crypto fund to hold and distribute donations of Bitcoin and Ether, and it's aimed to back open source technology for children around the world. This is a new and exciting venture for UNICEF, said UNICEF Director Henrietta Fore. If digital economies and currencies have the potential to shape the lives of coming generations, it is important that we explore the opportunities they offer. UNICEF Cryptocurrency Fund is the UN Children's Agency's latest push to adopt blockchain. In December last year, this is very significant, UNICEF said it was investing $100,000 in 6 blockchain startups in order to solve global challenges via blockchain, ranging from healthcare delivery, transparency, to managing finances and resources. So you can see this kind of adoption slowly creeping in. It's slowly becoming mainstream. Slowly, but it will get there. It'll be a tipping point. And we're heading towards that tipping point, I believe. Okay, let's look at some charts of Bitcoin. Just, in fact, safe stays up there. Safe stays down today. Literally, it's net asset value. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's get to Bitcoin now. I'll go through Bidstack as well, and a couple of other companies I quite like. Here we go. Bitcoin. All right. I've drawn lines all over this. And at the moment, short term, I'm quite bearish on the Bitcoin price. I really am. Because, get that off there. There we are. So look at this. We've rallied here, okay? There's been a bit of resistance here, up to 7,000. Then we broke up into 8, some resistance here, broke through up to 9, descending wedge, then hit $13,000 Bitcoin, then broke spectacularly down over the support, 1, 2, 3 times, fourth broke down. And now we're back in this trading range between 8, 8 pretty much, and 7, 7, up and down here. What I do like, on a sort of contrary kind of way, what I do like is that the RSI is really down here. Really low. This is the time to accumulate, Bitcoin. Not right up here when it's up at 80 or 70. That's the time to avoid. But I like this. If you'd gone back in time, look at that. It doesn't happen very often. When Bitcoin had gone below this 30 level and you'd have bought, you'd have been laughing here, So this is the time to accumulate. If you'd accumulated here and across here, 3,000, 4,000, you'd have more than tripled your money. Again, we're hitting this time, but it's coming up as we've got this essential, massive milestone, this halving in in 7 months? 7 months' time? So now is the time to start accumulating. I believe that's what I'm doing. I'm accumulating Bitcoin right now. Dollar cost averaging, as it's called, averaging down, pretty much buying a little bit on weakness all the time. I believe it will become an asset you need to buy and hold, and you'll accumulate wealth. That's what I believe. And like I said, check out my video. Okay, let's look at some other stocks. Bidstack. Really testing this level here, this level of support. This 23, 22 level, 23. Relative strength is down. Of course, there's been a bit of negative coverage from a certain blogger. Someone said, why didn't you go on your video and do a half-an-hour video on why we should buy Bidstack? I'm not going to do that. Let the guys in charge of the business get on with the business. I had Derek Wise on the podcast this week. highly successful, achieved guy in the world of gaming and advertising. He is now a non-executive director of, Bidstack. He's also works at Oracle at a high level. Who do you trust? Who are you going to back? James and the team. And if you check out the team, again, high achievers amongst that team. Who are you going to back? Those guys who know what's going on in the world of gaming and advertising, proven track records, or a blogger trying to get some traffic for his website. Let the guys do the work. Just need some news and decent news here. I just see this as, it'll be supported around here, and it'll bump along until we get some news. Then, mid to long term confidence in the story. So short term volatility, just have to deal with that. I like this chart. Immotion. The guys there, good business guys. Look at this ski jump. Almost cut and handle here. Come down here again. RSI oversold. MACD under zero. Now coming up like over zero. And now it's really perked up here. And we got volume is very good today. Some decent buying volume here. And down here, actually, I think this is when the placing happened. But some decent volume here. Oh, there's directors buying. Yeah, directors buying there. Martin, the guys. But I like this, look. Nice support around that 6.5 level. Now up to 8. May get some resistance here because previous resistance at 8. But I think we've seen the bottom here. Open Orphan. Again, look at that, on 30, accumulation. If you like the business, you know the business, you've done research, the time to accumulate is when it's oversold. Not up here, it's not in a rally. We may see some resistance here because we've had some before that broke down here. Broke up, bit of support there, bit of resistance there. So we're at that level now. So we may have the resistance and may go sideways for a while until we see further news. But I genuinely think this company, in the next year or so, will be, hopefully, if everything goes to plan, will be multiples of where we are now because, like I said, their data platform has blue sky potential. All right. Let's have a look at Skin Integumen. I like this because it's coming now. The 200-day moving average is catching up to the price. I quite like this. It should provide some support on this level, and until we see further news, then I think it'll hold nicely here. When the share price takes off and jumps above its 200 moving average. It's very bullish, but sometimes it will come back, and then it'll hopefully get some support from that. Anything else? I look at any news? No, it's Bidstack. Okay, that's it for the charts. Don't forget, if you liked this video, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Let me know. What's your thoughts on Bitcoin? I was very cynical about the hype in Bitcoin, but the more I've looked into it, some very clever people are backing it, and there's good reason. So, like I said, let me know, are you cynical on Bitcoin, or do you hold some? In the comments below, please. Right now, you can see, they're there. Sorry, I always get it wrong way around. There, click my face and hit that subscribe bell, and there's some other videos there for you to watch. Thanks very much.